Hi there, this is Lee, and I've been talking about the Dakota Access Pipeline for several shows. I'm talking about that in general now because it's not just Dakota. There are fights all across the United States with pipeline building and how it's ruining North American communities and neighborhoods. The environment's being poisoned, the groundwater is being contaminated. It's disrupting the lives of ordinary citizens who want to fight against these pipelines. And there are a few examples. Chuck Collins of Common Dreams has put this in kind of a larger context. He's talking about the Standing Rock protest in North Dakota, but he's also saying that the gas industry in general has been influencing our government, not just our elected officials, but our regulatory bodies as well. Chuck Collins is saying that the gas industry has been advertising themselves as promoting energy independence and meeting local gas needs. But the thing is, a lot of these gas projects that are being built and destroying our communities, the nature, the environment, the water, the soil, just taking homes and taking private land. A lot of these projects are for gas exports. It's not for domestic use. It's for foreign use via exports. That means it's not being done for us, the public. It's not a public good that this eminent domain is being used for. It's being used for exports, meaning that the beneficiaries are the gas companies themselves. There's no benefit to us. We're not using the gas. It's not helping us at all. It's going overseas. And as I've said in a previous video, a lot of these fossil fuel companies are avoiding their fair share of taxes. At the same time, they're reaping the rewards of taking our land and our property and contaminating everything that they leave behind. They're doing that, and then they're not even paying their fair share of taxes. They're just basically getting the profit from the exports. And so the anti-pipeline movement has brought together mayors, state officials, and neighbors and neighborhoods. But some politicians have bought into the propaganda that's been purchased into our media airwaves and our print publications, and some not even just advertisements. Some of it is press releases sent out and then disguised by editors and advertisers as information articles. And so people are saying like, oh, gas, it's a bridge fuel. It's not as bad as oil and coal. But it actually creates more methane from the gas extraction, which does even more harm than gas and coal. Creates more carbon. And so this article writer Collins is saying that rather than do that, the fossil fuel exporting, which again does not benefit us, it just leaves pollution and contamination behind, while the profits and the gas itself are not even benefiting our communities. The profits are going to the companies, the exports are going overseas. And so, I mean, he's saying we should be shifting away from fossil fuel anyway, like wind and hydro and solar. And I talked about that in a previous video where I was talking about Iowa's wind energy industry, trying to figure out, okay, why is there a pipeline in Iowa anyway when they practically lead our nation in wind energy generation? What was that about? And so he's saying that a lot of the pipeline protests and demonstrations have not been successful. The reason is that, for instance, there's a Texas-based Spectra Energy company that sued. This is Boston, the West Roxbury neighborhood. They started constructing a pipeline. The residents have opposed it. All of Boston's election officials oppose the pipeline. Why is it there? How is it possible? It's not just the elected officials, although sometimes there is cooperation in that arena. This time, no. The elected officials, the neighbors, the communities, they oppose it. So why was an outside company out of state able to come into Massachusetts and dominate and start destroying the neighborhood with their contamination and tearing up the streets in the neighborhoods in order to lay down their pipeline? Aren't we a democracy? And so Chuck Collins is saying that it's because of the Federal Energy Regulatory Commission. It's an unaccountable agency, FERC, FERC for short. He's saying under the Gas Act of 1938, FERC may grant private corporations the power of eminent domain over local jurisdictions. So this is supposedly a regulatory agency that says, you know what? Go ahead and take that house and that land and lay your pipe. Go at it. All you people, you need to move out because Spectra Energy is coming in. We said so. And so Robert F. Kennedy apparently said that FERC is a rogue agency, that they just rubber stamp all these eminent domain applications, and then the private companies do what they want with that public good that's been given to them by this supposedly regulatory agency. It's really not regulating, it's just rubber stamping. And so he's saying that the U.S. Senate should convene oversight hearings to examine FERC's overreach. And it's gotten to a point where a private company can just go wherever it wants in the United States and say, I want that land, move your sheep, move your corn, move your house, move your sacred burial ground because we're laying pipe here. That's FERC. So he's saying that Congress must start regulating the regulatory agency and examine their overreach, that they need to modernize the Gas Act in order to protect communities, reduce carbon and methane emissions. And so an independent agency should assess our nation's real energy needs and maybe kind of release ourselves from the fossil fuel industry at the same time. And so this is another solution, just a re-examination of the problem, and then proposed solutions.